The other major topic for the course is the REST API. Now, this is not a traditional API where we have a set of libraries that contain types, and those types contain properties and methods. The REST API is implemented as data-centric web services based on the Open Data Protocol, or OData. And basically, the way these web services work is each resource in the system is addressable by a specific URL that you pass off to the server. Let's take a look at this in Internet Explorer. So I'll just flip over to our site here, and I'm going to change the URL to the site URL +/_API/web and hit enter. Now, if you don't get this view and you're using Internet Explorer, go to your Internet Explorer settings, and then in the Content tab, click the settings for feeds and web slices, and make sure feed reading view is off. Okay, so if it is off, you should get a view that looks like this. Okay, so basically what we've said is we want information about the current web, or in the end user terms, the current site. So the site URL +/_API is the base URL for the SharePoint 2013 REST API. And then web is our query. We want information about the current web. You can see we get an XML document back. And if we scroll down here, we'll see that eventually we get information here about our current web. Now, if I want to know about the lists in the web, then I can append to this /lists. And now, instead of information about an individual object, I'm getting a collection of information about all of the lists in the system. Sorry, all of the lists in the current site. And then if I want an individual list, then what I can do is say that I want to get the list by title. So list/get by title. And you can see I've already done this query before. So get the customers list. And now I'm getting the information about the customers list. And if I want its items, then I append /items. And now I'm getting information about the individual items. So again, the way that this API works is that each individual item or each individual resource in the system, in this case it's SharePoint, is addressable by passing in the appropriate URL to our server. Now, when we were using the browser, we were issuing GET requests to the server, which means we want to retrieve information. But we can also do the rest of the standard CRUD operations. All we need to do is just change the type of request we send to the server. So if we want to delete a resource, we send a delete request. And if we want to add or update, we send a post. And if we want to retrieve, we send a GET. So basically, the CRUD operations, or the different operations we can do on different resources, map to the different, and for some reason, I can never say this acronym correctly, so I'll say it very slowly, HTTP verbs. By default, information returned from the service will be in XML format, or more specifically in Atom Pub format. But we can also ask the service to send the response back in JSON format by changing the accept header we send with the request. The REST API was first added to SharePoint in SharePoint 2010. At that point in time, it was implemented by a service called listdata.svc. And this service really only implemented CRUD operations on list data within the system. The SharePoint 2013 REST API is now implemented by client.svc, the same service that implements the client object model. So RESTful operations have been added to client.svc. When I was showing you the examples in the browser, I didn't navigate to _VTI_bin client SVC. I used _API. _API is just an alias for the client.svc service. It makes our URLs a little bit cleaner. Finally, listdata.svc remains in SharePoint 2013, but it's really only there for backwards compatibility. We'll see a little bit more on the use of listdata.svc in a later module in this course. This slide shows the coverage areas of the REST API endpoints in SharePoint 2013. While Microsoft made great strides in expanding the REST API from SharePoint 2010, you can see that the coverage is relatively limited in comparison to what we saw for the client object model earlier in this section. My feeling is that Microsoft will work hard to address this disparity, and that we'll see extensions to the REST API in the 2013 timeframe and in v.next.